They keep deliberately ignoring the mise en scène because dude nihilistic postmodernism with tacked on Bauhaus principles, LMAO, absolutely disgusting. Let me break it down, pleb. Mise en scène is basically the fancy term for a consistent aesthetic that lends a film an artistic stability in the message that makes it much more believable in the world and mood it establishes, such as the cabinet of Dr. Caligari deliberately using weird German expressionist set design to convey that the whole thing is a psychological demented trip. Basically, it's the thing that makes a film an art instead of a dry report. Postmodernists go, dude, fuck art LMAO, and explicitly ignore this to establish a sense of faux dissonance with the audience. We know this has no consistent aesthetic, but dude, it doesn't matter cause art is subjective. Trying is for losers, LMAO. And then they have the gall to use Bauhaus principles in animation to psychologically trick the audience into giving it legitimacy, because they use the same visual language as instructional material, like very literal uncreative sphere, cube, and cone shapes meant for unsubjective clarity, not to establish an intentional aesthetic, but because this is the only visual language they can actually apply because actual decent draftsmen are fucking unicorns. Regurgitate this style in indie comics to make it feel hip and cool and chic, and now you have this methodology become incestuous, and now everyone draws like they're making back-of-the-box instruction drawings for toddlers. Actually, anime is explicitly really good at mise en scène. Design-wise, yes, a lot of it is extremely similar symbol drawing. But aesthetically, and more importantly as far as direction goes, they get it right way more than Western cartoonists do. They know what needs to be made specific to the work to make it memorable and have something to say. They know how to visually lead someone into a perspective without needing to lie about being objective. I mean, you look at any anime opening, and they could all be the opening hook to a brand new concept album about a super specific subject matter that can say a really particular thing. The main issue is that Americans treat illustration more like a creepy Californian cult, and everyone else treats it like filmmaking. Russia in particular, despite having obscenely low budgets, have always produced very aesthetically good shit because they treat it like a film first and an icon of animation second. You know what? I won't even wait for it. See this? This is what I'm talking about when I say Bauhaus, this postmodern Weimar Schwäbisch. It was primarily developed in conjunction with architecture and obsession to reject traditional art techniques like, a basic three-dimensional sense of depth and design in favor of ma abstract. Ma cubism, ma symbolique, ma minotaur, degenerate bullshit like that was literally just an excuse to get non-artists into the art scene to launder money. You'll find that, sadly, everything commercial follows this style because it's so obscenely simple a baby could tell what's going on. It's so very literal and minimalist and depthless that it's the perfect manipulation tool. Seriously, now that I've told you about this, you're going to start seeing this brand of art everywhere. Advertisements, public announcements, public artworks, informational guides, and, yes, cartoons. Of course, it's mainly the French perpetuating this shit, and Americans suck French dick when it comes to art. CalArts? Pish, fucking small-town bullshit compared to the Parisian swill. Who could blame a bunch of overworked, pretentious animators who'd buy into this angular bullshit to not have to study drafting, though? And you know what? Here, have the perfect example. Do you fucking see the hypocrisy? It presents itself so literally, so simplistically, so objectively, that it leads the viewer to psychologically give it authority, because of course something that looks like a fucking crossing sign wouldn't be biased or lie, right? Even though right from the fucking thumbnail, you can see the color use and framing clearly has a proper fucking bias and agenda. And that's how they fucking do it. Maybe they don't make everything look quite like this, but the influence is there, the minimalist influence. Look at any modern cartoon. What do you see? Subtle anatomy, natural figures, creative graphic design? No, you see literal tube hands and faces that look like a fucking instruction manual mascot's face. The worst part is the artists themselves don't realize they're deluding themselves into thinking this is creative art. They don't realize they're just rehashing the dead symbols of propagandists and swindlers. How could they, when art schools don't bother teaching them basic drafting, let alone some contemporary fucking art history that would actually give these effeminate, infantilized trust fund children some fucking context and perspective of the world they fucking live in? And the real insult is that these fucking independent, undereducated artists peddle this garbage as alternative. Alternative to what? Tradition? There's no fucking tradition left. Everyone who could design worth a shit is fucking dead. Even the 3D stuff is nothing but this shit slowly creeping in. This influence is cancerous to anything creative and is actively crippling illustration. There is no constructive imagination left. It is only the photorealistic or the painfully abstract. You fucking wonder why American animation is fucking dead? It's not CalArts, it's not Weeboos, it's not any of that shit. It's motherfucking Bauhaus, Bolshevik bullshit. If there was anywhere in the entire universe to rant aggressively about it, it would be on the electric image board dedicated to people ranting aggressively about moving illustrations and design on a fanatical level. You Euclidean fucking clowns. This is literally the first time I've ever talked about this to anyone because I get fucking fired for not towing the line. I've just spent my time getting educated on art shit instead of just eating disgusting, rancid Franco-German shit regurgitated by smelly Californian hipsters who have never atomized an iota of genuine passion in their lives. I've fucking seen the psychological marketing behind this shit, and it is explicit and intentional. I wouldn't be so fucking sulfuric about it if I didn't have to see it every single fucking day and see you artistically illiterate troglodytes try to put it into words when you fuckers have never fucking read a book about it. You all say CalArts this, CalArts that. It's fucking Bauhaus, you fucks. It's Bauhaus. Everything you fucking hate about cartoons is Bauhaus. I don't give a shit if you even like it or not, but it's fucking Bauhaus.
The worst part is the artists themselves don't realize they're deluding themselves into thinking this is creative art. They don't realize they're just rehashing the dead symbols of propagandists and swindlers. Propagandists and swindlers don't have the patent on simple design. The ideas could have been developed simultaneously, independently, and for different purposes. It's especially likely since it's the first step anyone would come to when putting visuals on paper. It'd be like saying ancient civilizations copied pyramids from one another when it's just the shape least likely to fall apart when made with rudimentary construction techniques.
Art is a language, and despite any creative input, the laws of grammar and syntax apply to every language. They may be unique to each one, but all art, even the avant-garde art, have intrinsic rule sets and a metagame that is constantly evolving with the times. To simply characterize art as good for being powerfully abstract is dangerously reductive and antithetical to the creative spirit of humanity. Art, in layman's terms that you would understand, is an active translation of the divine abstract of the human subconsciousness into the tangible, articulated consciousness that can be understood and preserved throughout all space and time. The most important part of this translation process is the balance between the truest translation of that abstraction and the most pragmatic utilitarian objectification of that abstraction into a conscious mimetic force that has power over our conscious physical reality. To deny one is to falter in the other. To be too abstract is to be alien, but to be too utilitarian and reductive like Bauhaus is to lose the soul of all divinity into an abyss of apocalyptic implications, for the effectiveness of information is only as valuable as the creative potentiality of that data. When all data becomes creatively dead, then we shall truly live to see the death of consciousness, and we shall live in a land of the living dead. That is the path the devil named Bauhaus will lead you to, Kimosabe. No, you fucking peon, you absolute serf, you thoughtless general and fucktree. Do you want to die? Do you want to choke and drown before you reach the surface, when you're so close? I have to piss like a fucking horse. But if this thread isn't deleted, and if you guys really want to know the real shit, because the Bauhaus stuff is pretty much level 1 pleb material for anyone paying attention, it's surface level access. I can start posting exactly why this Anon is wrong and why now, more than ever. Art is at the most critical stage of human evolution, and how giving up on it in favor of apathy now would, quite fucking literally, have ramifications that would end the species, and how this all ties into marketing, stock markets, autonomic intelligence, and the evolution of corporations into neo-corporate entities that run on web organizations, and how art is critical, absolutely existentially critical, in us not dying. Because god damn it, you fuckers aggravate me so much with how ignorant you are to this shit. Because it's all public fucking information that is changing the fucking world, and you're willfully blind to it. Fuck you guys, I need to piss the river Styx.